Need for Speed Tokyo Nights is my perfect Need for Speed game. In a perfect world, this is the game which I would create if I was creative director or whatever of Need for Speed. This is the game that I would lead forward, and this is the game and the concept which I'm going to explain to you guys over a series of videos on this channel. Now, I want this series to be like a feedback thread for Ghost. I want you guys to go ahead and comment about what my ideas and comment about some of your ideas in the comment section down below. But I want you guys to be constructive and concise. In this video, we're going to go ahead and talk about the location and the atmosphere. So don't leave comments talking about your car list and customization. That will all come in the future. For this video, I want you to leave comments purely on the atmosphere and the location and anything else I talk about, later on in the video. Let's go ahead and make this a constructive feedback thread for Ghost. But with that being said, I'm not going to ramble on anymore, and I'm going to talk about me and what I would like to see from Need for Speed. Need for Speed Tokyo Nights has been a game which I have wanted for absolutely ages. I remember Jay, who's another YouTuber. If you don't know him, my link will be down in the description. But we were talking about this back in 2015, and it was one of those things. Ever since he said it, I was kind of like, that would be the perfect Need for Speed game. It's a bit of a backstory on me. I had a bit of an obsession about just racing games being in Japan. I think it's the perfect place. I don't know why nowhere's gone there yet. Imagine being in Frostbite, going through the middle of Tokyo with all the lights flashing on with an Aventador with neon and a loud exhaust. That to me signifies everything which Need for Speed is about. The drifting, the car meets in multi-story car parks, the drifting scene, the toge scene, the street racing scene, and yes, there is an off-roading scene there as well if you wanted to go ahead and carry on with that route. But in my perfect world, that wouldn't be a thing. The atmosphere in Japan just signifies urban car culture. I don't think there's any other way of really explaining it. Japan is car culture. For what Need for Speed was heading to and what Need for Speed was, back in 2015 and what it was pitched to me in 2015, it just reminded me of Japan. It signaled everything Japan was. It's a perfect setting for it. And I get some people wouldn't like it to move out the US because, that is what we've had previously. But it would be such a breath of fresh air to have a Need for Speed game in somewhere other than America. Now, obviously, Need for Speed games are actually in fictional places. So it could be a fictional Japan, or you could take heavy cues from Tokyo. But the point is, it would be a complete breath of fresh air. We haven't had something like this in such a long time, and that by itself, having a setting which hasn't been used in years, would add so much to how fresh the game would feel. I feel like a lot of the issue with Payback is that the setting doesn't really feel fresh at all. It feels like it's been done before, and I guess in a lot of ways it kind of has. I'm sick of desert. I don't want to see any more desert. I want to see, I want to see all these like trees and toge and Toge! What are they called? Are they called blossom trees? Yo, blossom trees. Fucking imagine that on Frostbite. Oh my god. Blossom trees, on the way up to a toge, and like the lights in the city center, and like imagine it, this is what I've had in my head for the longest of times. You're in the middle of Tokyo. Neon's flashing underneath your Lamborghini Aventador. It's raining, it's raining, it's slick, the roads are, reflecting all the Tokyo neon lights at night time, and you pull up to a red light. And keep in mind, this could be something like an E3 trailer. It doesn't necessarily just have to be me, but this is what I'm thinking in my head. So you've pulled up at this light, another car comes alongside. Red, amber, green, and it ends. That for me would be the perfect either like an E3 teaser or an E3 trailer. It says everything it needs to say. And I think that in itself, with a customized Liberty Walk event store with neons, flashing neons coming up, I think that's just, that signifies everything Need for Speed should be to me as a hardcore fan. Now, I'm going to talk a bit more about the location instead of just rambling on, because I have been rambling a bit. I want to talk a bit about why Japan is the perfect place. And not just that, but, the ways that things in the map could be implemented for gameplay and those types of things. So let's go ahead and talk about that. So other than everything I mentioned before about it being fresh and being new, it's so varied. The city area, the toge area, and then the highway area. You've got the Wangan, one of the most popular highway systems in the world. Not quite on Autobahn levels, but very, very close. There is a specific name for it, and I can't remember off the top of my head, and I'm sure someone's going to leave a comment section down below, but one of the most influential highway systems in the world. The C1 loop and the C1 like area where they meet, I don't know what it's specifically called, but those types of things are just synonymous with car culture. Right there, you've got three forms of gameplay. You've got the mountains for drifting, the Wangan for maybe drag races and highway races, and the city area for street racing. Easy way that it could be separated. And if you really, really want to, you've got the rice fields for off-roading. I know that's a meme, but they actually are a thing. I don't think off-roading has a place in Need for Speed. I don't think it has a place in this type of Need for Speed game. But I'm going to put it there anyway, just because. I wouldn't have it in my personal vision, though. I would get rid of the rice fields, and I'll just keep it to those 3 main sections of drift, race, and drag, and I think that's all the game really needs. The thing is, with the Wangan battles and the street drifting and the street racing and the toge racing, is you could really go in so many different directions with it. Now, I don't want to go and talk about the story too much because that's going to be a separate video, but you could have different bosses. You could have a street racing boss, a street drifting boss, a toge boss, and a Wangan boss. That's like an easy way you could do it. You defeat all those people, you become the best. It's like a simple premise, and it's so easily just categorized because they are things that are based on real life racing. Like, this actually happens in Japan. It could be so easily done. I can't say that for anywhere in America. It's not like that anywhere in America is really synonymous for street drifting and toge like Japan is. It's inherently in their culture. Like, street racing and street drifting isn't really frowned upon like it is here in the Western world. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have cops in the game, because you can. There is police in Japan. They don't have police. There is police in Japan, and it's a Need for Speed game, so you could exaggerate it. Give them GTR police cars. Give them, you know, R32 police cars. Whatever you want to do. It's completely up to you. But you could do that. That is very much a thing you can do, and you can make the game a spin-off so easily. Not like the game has much kind of lineage anymore anyway, because they've gone in so many different routes, but you get what I mean. The map itself could have so many actual like features within it because of where it's set. For example, multi-story car parks could be used for car meets. You could have dedicated photo spots. This goes for many maps, to be fair, but with how scenic Japan is and how, you know, just like how beautiful it is, you know, like I said, the blossom trees, you know, the neon lights. You could easily have kind of a Need for Speed-esque escapes mode in this, where you turn up to specific locations and the game renders at like maximum quality. Easily something that could be done. And it would suit itself for my perfect handling model, which in my head would be more reminiscent of the black box games. The city areas would be great for police. That, you know, Tokyo's so tight and there's so many little alleyways to escape down, you know, many areas for cooldown spots. Again, that would work hand in hand with police chases, you know, how narrow the city is, and you know, it's not all narrow obviously, but there is sections where you could probably go off into an alley and just lose the police there. There's so many ways you could do that, and not only that, but you could just have the police in the city area. So, you know, when you go up to the toge, it's very reminiscent of real life, where the police don't really go up there. They don't really go to the mountains, and I guess that's very similar to anywhere anyway. I never really see police go, you know, in a lot of the country roads I drive, and it's one of those things. You can have a lot of those things in Japan where they don't really operate too much on the toge area. They are on the Wangan, but they don't inflict too much, and the city area is really where the police presence is going to be high. And then obviously that means you could kind of model the map around that. So in the toge areas, there's not any cooldown spots or anything. It's very open, so if you do end up getting police into there, you are going to have a good time because there's just nowhere to go and it's just a loop. The Wangan area, if you're fast enough, you can lose them in a straight line. And the city area is where the people who have fun with police can really get, you know, under their skin and, you know, start going around and having roadblocks and all that type of thing. The atmosphere is naturally gritty. From everything I've explained in this video, it would not be hard to make that setting illegal, gritty. Easily could have a Yakuza influence in the story. Really go in with making it feel illegal. A Yakuza influence is such an easy storyline to do. That's such an easy plot. It really doesn't take a genius to think of a Yakuza plot which would be illegal and gritty, unless the Yakuza come along and say, we're gonna put you in a race and we're gonna be best friends. There's nothing that gets me more excited than Need for Speed Tokyo Nights, and I'm not expecting it for the next game. But Lord knows that if it was Need for Speed Tokyo Nights, it would possibly beat my 2015 E3 reaction. That wasn't a good time. That wasn't one of my best times, to be honest. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! Is the new Need for Speed. It's Marcus! Anyway, that's the end of part 1. I'm going to be doing these every week or so, just to kind of get my thoughts out and leave a big gap. That was the location and the atmosphere. Let me know what you guys think about that down in the comment section down below. Tokyo, Japan, it's just perfect, and I don't understand why it hasn't been done already. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comment section down below. Make sure to keep it focused and, you know, concise. Don't really try and ramble if you can. Let me know what your perfect Need for Speed location would be down in the comment section down below. That's been it from me today, and I hope I convinced some of you guys that Japan is really a good place. I hope I kind of, you know, brought a few people round to the idea if you weren't keen on it initially. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to go ahead and hit the like, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys have been awesome. Stay safe, and peace.